Lee Tae-ho stood in the center of the massive chamber. The walls stretched up so high he could barely see the ceiling. Around him, thousands of alien beings sat in curved rows that went up and up like a giant bowl. Some had tentacles instead of arms. Others looked like walking trees with glowing eyes. A few floated in bubbles filled with strange gas. All of them were staring at him. The human ambassador wore his best suit, but it felt small and plain next to the colorful robes and metal armor of the aliens. His hands were sweating, but he kept them still at his sides. He had been Earth's voice to the galaxy for one whole year. Today, that job might end. A creature that looked like a giant blue crystal spoke first. Its voice echoed through the chamber like breaking glass. Human Ambassador Lee Tae-ho, you stand before the Galactic Council to hear our decision about your species. Tae-ho nodded. I am ready to listen. In the 12 months since first contact, your species has caused more problems than any new member in our history. You have ignored our rules. You have expanded to new worlds without asking permission. You have started fights with peaceful, trading ships. You solve problems with violence instead of talking. The crystal being paused. Around the chamber, other aliens made sounds that might have been agreement. Some buzzed like angry bees. Others made clicking noises with their claws. We are a peaceful galaxy, the crystal continued. For 100,000 years we have lived without war. We talk through problems. We take time to make good decisions. We follow the rules that keep everyone safe. Tae-ho wanted to speak, but he knew better. The aliens hated being interrupted. They could talk for hours about simple things. Your species is different. You act first and think later. You change things too fast. You ask too many questions. You want to explore dangerous places we have marked as forbidden. You are chaos in a place of order. A new voice spoke up. This one came from something that looked like a walking flower with too many eyes. In our home system, humans tried to mine asteroids without filing the proper forms. The paperwork alone would take 50 years to complete properly. Another alien joined in. This one was covered in fur and had 6 arms. Human traders came to our world and started selling new foods. They did not wait for our taste testing committee to finish their work. The committee has only been working for 30 years. They need at least 20 more. More voices rose up. Each alien had a story about humans being too fast, too loud, too different. Tae-ho listened to them all. He had heard these complaints before. Earth had tried to change, but it was like asking a river to flow uphill. The crystal being raised, one sharp arm. The chamber became quiet. We have talked about this problem for many months. We have looked at all options. We have voted. Tae-ho felt his heart beating faster. This was it. The vote was unanimous. 847 species voted. 0 voted against. Earth and all human colonies will be cut off from galactic society. No trade, no communication, no sharing of technology, no travel to human space. Humans may not visit any world in our territory. The words hit Tae-ho like a physical blow. He had expected this, but hearing it still hurt. For how long? Until your species learns to follow our ways. Until you become peaceful and orderly. Until you stop being a threat to galactic harmony. The crystal being's voice had no emotion. This may take hundreds of your years, perhaps thousands. Tae-ho stood straighter. I understand. I will carry this message back to Earth. You have 7 standard days to leave our space. All human ships must return to Earth immediately. Any human found in galactic territory after that time will be arrested. The chamber began to empty. Aliens floated, walked, and slithered toward the exits. None of them looked at Tae-ho. To them, humans were already gone. Back on Earth, Admiral Park Min-soo was waiting in the Global Defense Command Center. The room was deep underground, protected by layers of steel and concrete. Screens covered the walls, showing images from space, from human colonies, from the few alien worlds where humans were still welcome. The communication came through as a tight beam transmission. Tae-ho's face appeared on the main screen. He looked tired but not broken. Admiral, I need to speak with President Kim Dae-hee immediately. The vote is in. 20 minutes later, the president joined the call. Kim Dahi was a small woman with gray hair and sharp eyes. She had led Korea before becoming Earth's first global president. Behind her stood the leaders of every major nation on Earth. "Tell us," she said simply. Tae-ho explained everything. The vote, the ban, the 7 days to leave alien space. When he finished, the room was silent. Then President Kim smiled. "They think they are punishing us," she said quietly. "They have no idea what they just did." Admiral Park nodded. "Ma'am, our ships are already moving. We started pulling back from the border systems yesterday. Our intelligence said this was coming." "And our colonies?" 43 human worlds, Admiral," said General Lim Hyo-jin, stepping forward. "All of them are outside the official galactic territory. The aliens never wanted those worlds anyway. They called them too dangerous or too hard to reach." Dr. Choi Hyun-woo, Earth's head scientist, was studying data on his tablet. "Madam President, we have been preparing for this possibility. Our people have been studying alien technology for a year. We have learned much." "How much?" "Enough to improve their designs. Their technology is very old and safe. They never change anything. But we have made their engines faster, their computers smarter, their weapons stronger." President Kim walked to the big window that showed space above Earth. Ships were moving out there. Human ships with human crews, heading away from the galaxy that had rejected them. "They want us gone because we are too chaotic," she said. "Because we change things too fast. Because we do not follow their old rules." She turned back to face the room. "They are afraid of us. Good." Admiral Park pulled up a star map. It showed the galaxy as the aliens knew it. The safe explored regions were marked in blue. The dangerous unknown areas were marked in red. There was much more red than blue. "The aliens have been flying in space for thousands of years," Park said, "but they only use maybe 1/3 of the galaxy. Look at all this empty space. Look at all these systems they will not explore." Dr. Choi joined him at the map. "We sent probes into some of these red zones last month. Secret missions. What we found was amazing. Worlds full of resources. Ancient ruins. Technology that makes alien tech look like toys." "The aliens are scared of the unknown," President Kim said. "We are not. They think slowly and carefully. We think fast and take risks. They want to stay safe. We want to grow." She turned to face everyone in the room. "Send a message to all human worlds. Tell them about the vote. Tell them we have 7 days. And tell them something else." "What, Madam President?" "Tell them we are not running away. We are moving towards something better. The aliens have shown us where not to look for the future, so we will look everywhere else." Yang Jun-ho, the chief engineer, was already pulling up ship designs on his screen. "We can modify our colony ships, make them faster, tougher. If we are going to explore unknown space, we need to be ready for anything." Kang Soo-jin, the military strategist, was studying the alien territories. "They will expect us to hide on our colony worlds and wait. They will expect us to come back in a few years, asking to be let back in. But we will not," President Kim said. "We will do something they cannot imagine. We will find things they never looked for. We will become something they fear even more." Dr. Choi looked up from his research. "Madam President, there is something else. The alien technology we studied, it has limits built in, safety systems that stop it from being too powerful or too fast. They are afraid of their own tools. And we removed those limits? Some of them. Human engineers do not like being told something cannot be improved." President Kim laughed. It was not a happy sound. It was the laugh of someone who had just realized they held a winning card. 7 days, she said. 7 days to show them that banning humanity was not punishment. It was liberation. Outside the command center, human ships were already moving toward the edge of known space. They carried supplies, people, and dreams of something the galaxy had never seen before. The aliens thought they had solved their human problem. They had just made it bigger. 6 months had passed since the galaxy voted to banish Earth. The alien leaders thought humans would be sitting on their colonies, feeling sorry for themselves. They were wrong. Yang Jun-ho stood on the bridge of the ship called New Horizon. Through the big front window, he could see space filled with human ships, hundreds of them, colony ships the size of cities, cargo ships packed with supplies, military ships ready to protect the others. All of them were heading away from the galaxy the aliens controlled. "How many people?" asked Kang Soo-jin. She was standing next to the navigation console, watching. The long line of ships stretch into the distance. 2 million on this convoy alone, Yang replied. Captain Shin has 3 million more coming behind us. The Mars colonies are sending another 5 million next month. Soo-jin shook her head in amazement. The aliens think we are running away. They have no idea we are running towards something. Yang pulled up a star map on the main screen. It showed their destination, a region of space the aliens had marked as dangerous and unfit for civilization. The red warning symbols covered dozens of star systems. Look at this, Yang said, pointing to the map. The aliens have been flying in space for 100,000 years, but they only live in maybe 30% of the galaxy. All of this? He gestured at the red zones. They marked it as too dangerous and forgot about it. What did our scout ships find out there? Yang smiled. Everything the aliens were too scared to look for. On the ship's communication system, Captain Shin Woo-jin's voice came through clearly. All ships, this is convoy leader. We are approaching the boundary of unexplored space. From here on, we are on our own. Yang switched to the captain's private channel. Woo-jin, how are the crews holding up? Better than expected. Most of them are excited. They know we are going where no human has gone before. Where no alien has gone either. Any regrets about leaving the safe zones? Shin laughed. Jun-ho, my friend, when has humanity ever been interested in safe? Yang had to agree. Humans had always been the species that looked at dangerous things and said, let's try it anyway. The aliens saw this as a flaw. Humans saw it as their greatest strength. In the ship's main laboratory, Dr. Lee So-young was working on something that would change everything. Spread across her lab tables were pieces of alien technology, computers, engines, weapons, tools. All of them had been taken apart and studied. Show me what you found, Yang said as he entered the lab. So-young picked up what looked like a simple alien computer chip. This is from their fastest ship engine. It is designed to be very stable and very safe. It has limiters built into it to make sure it never goes too fast or uses too much power. And you removed the limiters? Better than that. I figured out why they put them there in the first place. So-young plugged the chip into a human computer. Numbers and diagrams filled the screen. Alien technology is not actually limited by physics. It is limited by fear. Yang studied the data. What do you mean? Their ancestors built these limiters thousands of years ago after some kind of accident. Since then, every piece of alien technology has been designed to be safe first, effective second. They have been using engines that could go 10 times faster, computers that could think 100 times quicker, weapons that could be 1,000 times more powerful. But they choose not to. They are terrified of their own technology. They would rather be slow and safe than fast and dangerous. So-young held up another device. This is a human-modified version of their engine controller. It does everything their version does, but without the fear. Yang whistled softly. How much faster? Our colony ships can now travel at speeds the aliens think are impossible. We can cross the galaxy in months instead of years. And that is just the beginning. On another part of the ship, engineer Bae Suho was working on an even bigger breakthrough. His workshop was filled with strange machines that hummed and sparked with energy. Suho, what is this thing? Yang asked, looking at a device that seemed to bend light around itself. Alien hyperspace technology, Suho replied, not looking up from his work. But not the way they use it. They built these gates to connect safe systems to other safe systems. Very slowly, very carefully. And you want to use them differently? I want to use them to go places that do not have gates yet. The aliens always build the gate at their destination first, then connect to it. But what if we could build a gate that creates its own destination? Yang thought about this. You mean we could open doorways to anywhere? Even places we have never been? Exactly. Instant travel to any point in space. The aliens never tried. It because they thought it was too dangerous. What if the destination is inside a star? What if there are hostile aliens there? What if, and we think, Suho grinned, We think those are problems we can solve when we get there. The convoy continued its journey toward the unexplored regions. Behind them, more human ships were following. The exodus from known space was happening faster than anyone had expected. On Earth, Admiral Park Min-soo was coordinating the largest movement of people in human history. The command center was busy with activity as officers tracked the progress of dozens of fleets. "Admiral, we are getting reports from the advanced scouts," said Commander Na Dong-hyun. "You need to see this." The main screen showed images from deep space, star systems filled with planets, worlds covered in oceans, forests, deserts, ice, ancient space stations orbiting dead suns, massive structures that looked like they had been built by giants. "How many habitable worlds?" Park asked. "In just the first sector? Over 300. And Admiral, some of them show signs of previous civilization." Park leaned forward. "Previous civilization? Not current?" "The sites look very old. Thousands of years, maybe tens of thousands. But the technology we are seeing," Dong-hyun paused, "it makes current alien tech look primitive." "Show me." The screen changed to show close-up images of strange buildings and machines. They were clearly not made by any species currently in the galaxy. The designs were too advanced, too elegant, too powerful. "Who built these things?" Park wondered aloud. "We do not know. But whoever they were far ahead of the current galactic civilization. The question is, what happened to them? On the colony ship Pioneer's Dream, Captain Kim Yeon-ju was leading the first landing party to one of these mysterious worlds. The planet looked like Earth might have looked millions of years ago. Green continents, blue oceans, white clouds. But scattered across the surface were the ruins of cities that stretched beyond the horizon. "Landing team, stay together," Yeon-ju said as they stepped out of their shuttle. "We do not know what we might find here." The ruins were incredible, buildings that seemed to be grown rather than built, machines that still hummed with power. After thousands of years, art and writing in languages no one could read. Dr. Yoon Hae-jin, the team's archaeologist, was recording everything. "Captain, these ruins are not just old. They are sophisticated beyond anything we have seen. Look at this." She led them to what looked like a fountain, but instead of water, it produced images in the air. Moving pictures that showed the planet, as it once was. Cities full of beings that looked nothing like current galactic species. Ships that moved between the stars like they were crossing a room. "They were more advanced than the current galaxy," Hae-jin said quietly. "Much more advanced. So what happened to them?" "Maybe we will find out," Yeon-ju replied. "But first, let's see what they left behind that we can use." The exploration teams found more than they had hoped for. Technology that could create energy from nothing. Machines that could build other machines. Weapons that could destroy planets. Or protect them. Most importantly, they found information. The ancient civilization had left records, not in words, but in images and feelings that could be understood by any intelligent species. The story they told was both amazing and terrifying. Back on the convoy flagship, Yang was reading the first reports from the exploration teams. What they had found would change everything humanity thought they knew about the galaxy. Soo-jin, "Look at this," he said, showing her the data. "The current galactic civilization is not the first. There was another one before them. Much more advanced. What happened to them?" "That is the question. The records are incomplete, but it looks like they faced some kind of threat, something that made them abandon their worlds and disappear." Soo-jin studied the images from the ruins. "And the current aliens do not know about this?" "Apparently not. They have been so focused on staying in their safe zones that they never explored far enough to find these ruins. They just marked these regions as dangerous and stayed away. But we are not staying away? No. We are going to find out what happened to the first galactic civilization, and we are going to make sure it does not happen to us." The human exodus continued. More ships, more people, more colonies spreading into the unknown regions of space. The aliens had banished humanity to get rid of a problem. Instead, they had given humans access to the greatest mystery in galactic history. And humans were very good at solving mysteries. 2 years had passed since humanity left known space. What they found in the darkness beyond changed everything. Commander Park Ji-ho floated in zero gravity, looking through the observation window of his exploration ship. In front of him, stretched, a sight that took his breath away. 7 planets connected by streams of pure energy. The light flowed between the worlds like rivers in space, carrying information, power, and something else that human instruments could not identify. "Captain, are you seeing this?" asked his science officer, Dr. Kim Min-ah, her voice filled with wonder. "I see it. I just do not believe it," Ji-ho replied. "How is this possible?" "The energy streams are artificial. Someone built this. Someone connected 7 entire planets into a single network. The power requirements alone should be impossible." Ji-ho activated the ship's communication system. "This is Explorer 7 to Fleet Command. We have found something incredible. Sending data. Now!" Back at the main human base on New Eden, Admiral Park Min-soo was coordinating the exploration of dozens of star systems. The humans had been busy. In 2 years, they had established over 200 colonies and discovered wonders that made alien technology look like stone tools. The data from Ji-ho's ship appeared on the main screen. Even the experienced officers in the command center gasped when they saw the images. "Sir, what are we looking at?" asked Commander Oh Sung-yeon. "The future," Park replied quietly. "Or maybe the past. Get me Dr. Yoon Hae-jin. She needs to see this immediately." Dr. Yoon Hae-jin was humanity's leading expert on the ancient ruins they had been finding. In 2 years of exploration, her teams had uncovered evidence of a civilization that made the current galaxy look primitive. But this was different. This was not ruins. This was still working. "Admiral, this changes everything we thought we knew," Hae-jin said as she studied the data. "The energy patterns match what we found in the ruins. But these systems are still active. After thousands of years, they are still running." "What do they do?" "Near as we can tell, everything. They generate power, store information, create matter, manipulate space and time. The 7 planets are not just connected, they are functioning as a single massive computer." Park leaned back in his chair. "A computer the size of 7 worlds?" "At least. And Admiral, we think there are more of these networks. The energy patterns suggest connections to other systems, other groups of planets. We may have found just one node in a galaxy-wide network." On the exploration ship, Ji-ho and his team were preparing to make contact with the planetary network. They had spent weeks studying the energy patterns, learning how the system communicated. "Dr. Kim, are you ready?" Ji-ho asked. Kim Min-ah was sitting at a modified alien communication console that human engineers had improved far beyond its original design. "Ready as we can be, Captain. Remember, we have no idea who or what built this. It could be dangerous." "Everything worthwhile is dangerous," Ji-ho replied. "That is why the aliens never found it. Send the signal." The communication beam reached out across space and touched the nearest planet in the network. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the energy streams between the planets began to pulse faster, brighter. Information was flowing through the network at incredible speeds. The response came not as a radio signal, but as pure information downloaded directly into their ship's computers. Images, sounds, concepts that human minds could barely understand. The story of the galaxy as it really was. Dr. Yoon Hae-jin was right. The current galactic civilization was not the first. Long before the aliens who had banished humanity, another species had ruled the galaxy. They had been builders, explorers, dreamers on a scale that dwarfed anything that came after. They had connected planets with energy streams. They had built computers that could think at the speed of light. They had created ships that could travel instantly between any 2 points in the galaxy. They had achieved something close to godhood, but they had also faced something terrible. "Captain, you need to see this," Kim said, her voice shaking. "The network is showing us what happened to them." The images that filled their screens were beautiful and terrifying. The ancient civilization at its height, with billions of species working together across the galaxy. Then something changed. The images became darker, more chaotic. Entire star, systems going silent, fleets of ships disappearing without trace. Worlds that simply stopped existing. "What were they fighting?" Ji-ho asked. "The network calls it the silence," Kim replied. "Something that consumes civilizations, not by destroying them, but by making them stop. Stop growing, stop changing, Stop existing. How do you fight something like that? According to this, you do not fight it, you outrun it, but only if you keep moving, keep changing, keep growing. The moment a civilization becomes static, becomes predictable, the silence finds it. The terrible truth became clear. The ancient civilization had not been destroyed by war or disaster. They had become too perfect, too stable, too predictable. The silence had consumed them because they had stopped evolving, and the current galactic civilization was making the same mistake. On New Eden, the human leadership was gathering for an emergency meeting. The discoveries from the Nexus worlds, as they were calling the connected planets, had revealed the true danger facing the galaxy. President Kim Da-hee looked around the table at Earth's best and brightest. Admiral Park, Dr. Choi Hyun-woo, Engineer Yang Jun-ho, General Lim Hyo-jin, and dozens of others. All of them had seen the data from the Nexus worlds. "Tell me this is not real," the president said quietly. Dr. Choi shook his head. "It is real, Madam President. The network does not lie. The ancient civilization that built these wonders was consumed by something called the silence. And from what we can determine, it is still out there. Waiting for what? For civilizations to become stagnant. For species to stop growing and changing. The current galactic civilization has been static for thousands of years. They follow the same rules, use the same technology, think the same thoughts their ancestors did." Yang looked up from his tablet. "The aliens who banished us? They are exactly the kind of civilization the silence feeds on. Predictable, unchanging, afraid of anything new. And us?" President Kim asked. General Lim smiled grimly. "We are chaos incarnate, Madam President. We change constantly. We adapt, we grow, we take risks. We are probably the most unpredictable species in galactic history." Which means the silence cannot easily consume us. But it also means we might be the only ones who can stop it. Dr. Yoon Hae-jin had been studying the ancient records for weeks. Her teams had decoded more of the network's information, learning about the civilization that had come before. What they found was both inspiring and terrifying. "The ancient ones were like us in many ways," she explained to the Leadership Council. "They were explorers, builders, innovators. They spread across the galaxy in just a few thousand years, much faster than the current aliens managed in 100,000. What went wrong?" President Kim asked. "They became too successful. They solved all their problems, answered all their questions, built everything they needed. They achieved perfection. And perfection, it turns out, is exactly what the silence feeds on." Engineer Bae Suho had been working with the ancient technology, learning how it functioned. What he discovered was revolutionary. The network is not just a computer or a communication system. It is a tool for maintaining chaos. "Explain that," Admiral Park said. "The ancient ones built it to prevent exactly what happened to them. The network was designed to introduce random changes into their civilization, new ideas, new challenges, new ways of thinking. It was meant to keep them evolving forever. But it failed? No, they turned it off. The records show that some of their leaders thought the chaos was dangerous. They wanted stability, predictability, safety, so they shut down the systems that kept them changing." Yang whistled softly. "They killed themselves by trying to be safe. And now the current galactic civilization is doing the same thing. They have created a perfect, stable, unchanging society. They are feeding themselves to the silence one boring day at a time." The implications were staggering. Humanity had been banished for being too chaotic, too unpredictable, too dangerous. But those were exactly the qualities that could save the galaxy from the silence. Back on the exploration ship, Jiho and his team were learning to communicate with the ancient network. The system was eager to share information with them, recognizing in humanity the same chaotic energy that had once driven its creators. "The network wants to help us," Kim reported. "It has been waiting for someone like us, someone willing to embrace chaos instead of fearing it." "What kind of help?" Jiho asked. "Technology, knowledge, power. Everything the ancient civilization developed before they made their fatal mistake. The ship's computers began downloading information at incredible speeds, designs for ships that could travel instantly across the galaxy, weapons that could reshape matter at the atomic level, tools that could terraform planets in days instead of centuries. Most importantly, Instructions for building more network nodes. "Captain, look at this," Kim said excitedly. "The network can be expanded. We can connect our colonies, our ships, our people into a galaxy-wide system. Not to control them, but to keep them changing, growing, evolving." 3 years after the banishment, humanity was no longer the chaotic newcomer the galaxy remembered. They had become something the aliens could not understand, and therefore feared even more. Admiral Lee Jung-min stood in the command center of the battleship Defiance, watching intelligence reports flow across the screens. Human deep space reconnaissance had detected something the Galactic Council was trying to hide. Entire sectors at the galaxy's edge had gone dark, not destroyed, not conquered, simply gone silent. "Admiral, we are receiving a transmission on an encrypted channel," reported Communications Officer Ryu Sang-ho. "It is from inside galactic space." That should be impossible. All communications to human ships were banned. "Yes, sir, but this signal is using technology we have never seen before. Very advanced, but not human." The transmission resolved into the image of a being Jung-min had never seen before. It looked like a cross between a bird and a lizard, with feathers that shimmered with their own light. Its eyes were large and intelligent, filled with something Jung-min recognized as desperation. "Human Admiral, my name is Kellis Vorthak. I represent a group of younger species within the Galactic Council. We need to meet." Jung-min exchanged glances with his senior staff. "This could be a trap." "It could be," agreed Captain Na Dong-hyun. "But sir, look at the technology they use to reach us. This is far beyond what we have seen from galactic civilization." "Where do you want to meet?" Jung-min asked the alien. "There is a dead system at coordinates I will transmit. It was abandoned by the Council years ago. We will come alone and unarmed." "Why should we trust you?" The alien's feathers dimmed. "Because we are all going to die if someone does not do something soon, and you humans are the only ones crazy enough to try." The meeting took place in the ruins of an ancient space station orbiting a dead star. Jung-min brought a small fleet, ready for anything. The aliens brought a single ship that was clearly a research vessel, not a warship. Kellis Vorthak was not alone. With him were representatives of a dozen young species, all of them looking nervous and frightened. They were the aliens who had grown up after the human banishment, the ones who questioned the old ways. "Admiral, thank you for coming," Kellis said as they met in the station's abandoned conference room. "We have much to tell you. Start with why you contacted us. Your people banished us, remember?" A different alien spoke up, this one resembling a walking crystal tree. "Not our people. The old ones. The Council of Ancients who have ruled the galaxy for thousands of years. We younger species had no vote in your banishment." "And you disagree with it?" "We think it was the stupidest decision in galactic history," said another alien, this one covered in what looked like metal scales. "But that is not why we are here." Kellis activated a holographic display. It showed the galaxy as the aliens knew it, but with large sections marked in ominous black. "Admiral, what you see here is the truth the Council has been hiding. The silence is real, and it is coming." Jung-min leaned forward. Humanity's exploration of the ancient networks had taught them about the silence, but seeing it mapped like this was still shocking. "How many systems have gone dark?" 47 in the last year alone. Entire sectors that simply stopped. No distress calls, no battles, no explosions. One day they were there, the next day they were not. Dr. Song, Mina Jung-min's science officer, studied the pattern. "The progression is accelerating. At this rate, the silence will reach the galactic core in less than 50 years. "More like 30, Kellis corrected grimly. "The rate of consumption is increasing. Each system that falls makes the silence stronger and faster." "What is the Council's response?" Jung-min asked, though he suspected he already knew. The crystal tree alien made a sound like wind through broken glass. "Denial. They claim it is a natural phenomenon. Solar flares, black holes, anything but what it really is. They have ordered all ships to avoid the affected areas and forbidden any research into the cause." "They are feeding themselves to it," Na Dong-hyun observed. "By staying predictable and refusing to change, they are making themselves perfect targets." "Exactly," Kelly said. And that is why we need you. Humans are the only species we know that thrives on chaos and change. You are the opposite of everything the silence feeds on. Young Min looked at his staff. They had suspected this moment would come, when they would have to choose between safety and duty. What are you asking us to do? Help us convince the Council to change. Help us show them that their rigid ways are killing the galaxy. And if they refuse to listen, the young aliens exchanged glances. Finally, Kellis spoke. Then help us save as many species as we can. Some of us are already preparing to leave galactic space. We have been studying your exodus, learning from your example. Dr. Song was reviewing data on her tablet. Admiral, I need to show you something. The pattern of silence consumption matches exactly what we learned from the ancient networks. It is targeting the most stable, predictable civilizations first. Which means the current Galactic Council is probably next. They represent the ultimate in stagnant civilization. They have not changed their fundamental structure in over 10,000 years. Young Min made his decision. Kellis, we will help you, but not the way you think. What do you mean? We are not going to ask the Council to change. We are going to force them to change. The galaxy needs chaos, and we are very good at providing it. On New Eden, President Kim Da-hee was reading the reports from Young Min's meeting with the young aliens. The information confirmed humanity's worst fears. The silence was not just a historical threat. It was active, consuming the galaxy from the edges inward. How long do we have? She asked Admiral Park Min-soo. If the alien data is correct, maybe 30 years before it reaches Earth's old position in the galaxy. But, Madam President, we are no longer in Earth's old position. Kim studied the star maps showing current human territory. In 3 years, they had spread far beyond the original galactic boundaries, into regions no alien had ever explored. Are we safe where we are? For now. The silence seems to follow the paths of established civilization. Our colonies are in truly unexplored space. But eventually, it will find us too. Kim stood and walked to the window overlooking New Eden's capital city. Below her, millions of humans were building something unprecedented. A civilization, designed to never stop changing. Admiral, send orders to all fleet commanders. Begin Phase 2 of the Exodus Protocol. Phase 2. Madam President? We are not running anymore. It is time to go back and save the galaxy, whether it wants to be saved or not. Phase 2 was ambitious beyond anything humanity had attempted before. Using the ancient network technology they had discovered, human engineers began constructing something the galaxy had never seen. Mobile civilization nodes. Engineer Bae Suho was leading the project from his workshop on New Eden. The concept is simple, he explained to the engineering teams. Instead of static colonies, we build moving cities. Ships the size of planets that can travel instantly between star systems. What is the point? Asked Yang Junho. Controlled. Chaos. These mobile cities will appear randomly throughout galactic space, bringing human culture, technology, and thinking to alien worlds. We will not ask permission or follow their rules. We will simply show up and start changing things. Dr. Lee So-young had been working on the practical applications. We can introduce new technologies that force adaptation, economic systems that reward innovation, cultural exchanges that break down rigid thinking patterns. You are talking about deliberately destabilizing galactic civilization, observed General Lim Hyo-jin. Exactly, So-young replied. Destabilization is the opposite of what the silence feeds on. If we can make the galaxy chaotic enough, unpredictable enough, constantly changing enough, the silence will not be able to consume it. The first mobile city was called Wanderer. It was built around the core of an ancient network node, powered by technology that bent space and time. The city could house 1 million people and could appear anywhere in the galaxy instantly. Captain Kim Tae-young commanded Wanderer's maiden voyage. Their destination, the heart of galactic space, where the oldest and most rigid alien civilizations had ruled for millennia. All systems ready, Captain, reported Navigation Officer Oh Hyo-rin. Target coordinates locked. The alien homeworld of Zentara Prime. Are we sure about this? Asked First Officer Park So-jin. Zentara Prime is the most conservative world in the galaxy. They have not changed their governmental structure in 15,000 years. Which makes them perfect, Tae Young replied. If we can introduce chaos there, we can do it anywhere. Initiate transit. Wanderer disappeared from human space and reappeared in orbit around Zentara Prime. The alien response was immediate and predictable: panic, outrage, and demands that the human city leave immediately. Tae Young opened communications with the planet below. Zentara Prime, this is Captain Kim Tae Young of the human city Wanderer. We come bearing gifts. Human vessel, you are violating Galactic Council regulations by entering our space. Depart immediately or face military action. We are no longer bound by Galactic Council regulations, remember? You banished us. We are here to offer trade, cultural exchange, and technological cooperation to any beings interested in something new. 4 years after the banishment, the silence reached the edge of galactic civilization. The aliens finally understood what they were facing, but their understanding came too late. Admiral Kim Tae Young stood in the war room aboard the mobile city New Harmony, watching the galaxy burn, not with fire, but with the absence of everything. Entire star systems were vanishing from communication, leaving behind empty space where thriving civilizations had existed for thousands of years. Status report, she commanded, Commander Lim. Su-Jin looked up from her console, her face grim. 17 sectors have gone completely silent in the last month. The silence is accelerating its consumption rate. At this pace, it will reach the galactic core in 8 months, not 18. And the alien response? Panic. The Galactic Council is finally admitting the silence exists, but they are responding exactly as we predicted. More committees, more rules, more attempts to create perfect defensive formations. Tae Young shook her head. After 4 years of trying to introduce chaos into galactic civilization, humanity had learned something important. Some species would rather die than change. Ma'am, incoming transmission from the Galactic Council, reported Communications Officer Park Dong-woo. It is from the Supreme Chancellor himself. The main screen activated, showing an alien that looked like a cross between a tree and a diamond. Supreme Chancellor Vextai had ruled the galaxy for over 3,000 years, making him one of the most conservative leaders in galactic history. Human Admiral, Vextai said, his voice carrying the weight of absolute authority. The Galactic Council formally requests military assistance against the threat known as the Silence. Tae Young almost laughed. You banished us, Chancellor. You called us dangerous chaos bringers who threatened galactic peace. Now you want our help? The situation has changed. We are prepared to offer full reinstatement into galactic society, including voting rights and territorial concessions. And in exchange, you will place your military forces under Council command and follow our strategic directives in the fight against the Silence. This time, Tae Young did laugh. Chancellor, you still do not understand. You cannot fight the Silence with military force. You cannot defeat it with perfect strategies and careful planning. Those are exactly the things that make you vulnerable to it. Then what do you propose? We save the galaxy our way, with chaos, with change, with everything you spent 4 years trying to keep out of your perfect civilization? Vextai's crystalline features hardened. Unacceptable. The galaxy will not be turned over to human chaos. We will find another solution. The transmission ended. Tae Young turned to her staff. Well, we gave them a chance. Admiral, what are your orders? Asked Su-Jin. Begin Operation Final Storm. If they will not accept change willingly, we will force it on them. On New Eden, President Kim Da-hee was coordinating the largest military operation in human history. But this was not a conventional war. No human ship would fire a weapon at an alien target. Instead, they would deploy the most dangerous weapon humanity possessed: evolution. General Lim, status on the chaos deployment? Kim asked. General Lim Hyo-jin consulted her tactical display. All mobile cities are in position. We have Wanderer at the galactic core, New Harmony in the mid-rim territories, and Rising Storm in the outer colonies. Each city is equipped with full evolution packages. Evolution packages? Dr. Choi Hyun-woo stepped forward to explain. Technology designed to force rapid adaptation, economic disruptors that make traditional trade impossible, cultural catalysts that break down species barriers. Educational viruses that spread new ways of thinking faster than governments can stop them. You are talking about fundamentally changing galactic civilization in a matter of months, observed Admiral Park Min-soo. Exactly, Kim replied. The silence feeds on stagnation. We are going to make stagnation impossible. The first target was the economic system. For thousands of years, galactic trade had operated on predictable patterns. Certain species produced certain goods following traditions that never changed. Human economists led by Dr. Yang Su-min introduced something revolutionary: adaptive markets. The concept is simple, Yang explained to her team aboard Wanderer. We create economic conditions that reward innovation and punish predictability. Species that adapt and change will prosper. Those that cling to old ways will find themselves unable to compete. The implementation was elegant in its simplicity. Human mobile cities began offering goods that no alien civilization had ever imagined. Art that changed based on the viewer's emotions. Food that adapted its taste to different species. Technology that evolved to meet new challenges. More importantly, they offered these things for free to any alien willing to try something new. The effect was immediate. Young aliens flocked to human cities, eager to experience the chaos of constant change. They returned to their home worlds with new ideas, new perspectives, new ways of thinking that spread like wildfire through rigid alien societies. Captain Shin Woo-jin led the cultural disruption campaign from his mobile city Rising Storm. His target was the most conservative alien species in the galaxy, the Kavarian Empire, which had not changed its social structure in 20,000 years. Captain, the Kavarian fleet is moving to intercept us, reported his tactical officer. Let them come, Shin replied. But remember, we are not here to fight them. We are here to save them from themselves. When the Kavarian warships arrived, they found Rising Storm had done something impossible. It had begun broadcasting Kavarian history, not the official sanitized version taught in their schools, but the real history. The struggles, the failures, the times when change had saved their species from extinction. The broadcasts were accompanied by something even more dangerous: questions. What if the Kavarian government tried new approaches? What if their society embraced change instead of fearing it? What if they chose growth over stability? Within days, protests erupted across Kavarian worlds. Not violent revolutions, but peaceful demands for something the species had not experienced in millennia: the right to change. The pattern repeated across the galaxy. Human mobile cities appeared at the most rigid alien civilizations, bringing chaos in the form of possibility. They did not conquer or destroy. They simply showed aliens what they could become if they were not afraid of tomorrow being different from today. But the silence was not idle. As reports came in from the advancing darkness, humanity learned something terrifying. The silence was adapting too. Dr. Song Min-ah analyzed the latest data from the consumed sectors. Admiral, the silence is not just consuming civilizations anymore. It is learning from them. Each species it devours makes it more sophisticated, more capable of finding and destroying organized societies. How long before it reaches the core systems? Asked Admiral Jung-min. 3 months, maybe less. And Admiral, when it gets there, it will not just consume the aliens. It will come for us too. Our chaos has made us visible to it. The final phase of humanity's plan was the most dangerous. Using the ancient network technology they had discovered, human engineers began connecting the chaos they had spread across the galaxy into a single, massive system. Engineer Bei Suho worked around the clock to complete the galaxy-wide adaptation network. The theory is sound, he told President Kim during an urgent briefing. If we can link all the changes we have introduced into a single system, we create a galaxy-wide organism that constantly evolves and adapts. What are the risks? Kim asked. Total system failure would mean the collapse of galactic civilization. Success would mean creating something the universe has never seen, a truly immortal society that cannot be consumed by the silence because it never stops changing. And if we do nothing? The silence reaches the core in 10 weeks and devours everything, including us. Kim made the decision that would define humanity's legacy. Do it. The activation of the galaxy-wide adaptation network was visible from across the galaxy. Streams of energy connected star systems, planets, and civilizations in a web of constant communication and change. The rigid boundaries between species began to dissolve. Trade routes shifted daily. Governments adapted hourly. Cultures evolved in real time. The galaxy became chaos incarnate. The Silence arrived at the edge of the core systems and encountered something it had never faced before. A civilization that would not hold still long enough to be consumed. Every time it tried to lock onto a planet or system, the target changed. Governments shifted, technologies evolved, societies transformed themselves faster than the Silence could adapt. Supreme Chancellor Vextai, broadcasting from the galactic capital, made a final desperate plea for order. This chaos will destroy us all! The humans have turned the galaxy into madness! Captain Na Dong-hyun, commanding the human mobile city Eternal Change, replied from orbit above the capital world. Chancellor, look around you. Your people are not dying. They are living for the first time in thousands of years. It was true. Across the galaxy, species that had been static for millennia were discovering the joy of growth, the excitement of change, the thrill of an uncertain future. Crime rates dropped as beings found purpose in adaptation. Depression became rare as individuals embraced the possibility of becoming something new.